Hi everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about how exactly we can, break the loop of uh, only doing certain type of activity and not making any progress. So this is the discussion point and topic, and I like this concept. Hence, I wanted to capture and share with others also. Maybe you can learn, and I'll try to keep it as simple and short possible. Okay, so science of mastering any skill you're looking for, right? So now how exactly it happens? Skill and versus performance, as you can see. So the moment your skill improve, your performance also increases typically. And the challenge is you know, we in certain point of time we become stagnant to it. We don't improve the skill, or we improve the skill, but uh, it does not impact the performance. Why? There is a difference between developing a particular skills and applying them. Until you apply, it will not improve the performance. So that science I just wanted to highlight, and it is like one of the topic which is very practical. Hence, I picked up because in this, let's say, not only in this channel, anywhere you learn something, right? Let's say you learn any concept or any logical attribute. That time, what typically is required is that you need to have a this loop to be understand very well and clearly. Then only you will be able to make progress from this particular or similar kind of loops, right? So let me go deeper into it. We all hit the okay plateau. Why do we stop getting better even when we work hard? We hit a point where initial rapid progress gain to a halt. Okay, and we become proficient enough to perform tasks on a autopilot, and as a result our improvement ceases, and this is the trap of being good enough. So what happened, and this is a very critical point. Typically what happened when we become proficient enough, so what happened, we certain time in our career, let's say, after I think 28 to 30, or once you cross 30, what happened, we become first of all, we hit a point where initial rapid progress gain to a halt after certain. So if I'm doing certain type of work, after gaining a process efficiency, it becomes autopilot for me, and an autopilot for me. As a result, our improvement stops there. We don't seek that, we don't interpret them that okay, because it becomes autopilot, I need to take new skills to it, I need to add or learn new things, and keep on adding so that my progress also improve and my performance also improve, right? So that part we need to uh, uh, need to understand. So the trap of being okay, what we accept after certain time, and we keep on running in autopilot, that part I wanted to break out. Your brain is built for efficiency, not for growth. The core reason for the plateau, the brain is hardware to conserve energy. It resists the discomfort of new learning, and default to what easy and automatic. This is the science, okay? Even for example, for this particular video right now, whatever time it is, like my brain can put me in trick and say that no need to do this difficult, because when I'm speaking, it's not it's a difficult task. I'm organizing my thought, I'm trying to communicate something, making it easier for others to learn, right? And it takes a lot of effort. I could have scroll reels, I could have do anything which is default autopilot. Now scrolling screen is also autopilot, right? It does not put much effort. that is the that is the loop I wanted to break. First, I wanted to highlight to all of you guys that there is a difference. Okay, we are a lot of things we are doing just in autopilot mode. We need to break that particular autopilot mode. Okay, and we have to go into discomfort of learning. Okay, and where we it takes a lot of effort, energy of brains to learn something new, to communicate, to consume, to retain that information. It consumes energy. Hence, it tried brain is very smart. It tried to avoid that. This drive for efficiency is the root of the problem. We mistake discomfortable autopilot work for genuine progress. So I already mentioned, right? 10-year experience become 1 year experience repeated 10 times. So, 10-year progress become 1 year progress means if I go to the previous, so imagine from this point to this point, I jumped 1 year and then I did not make any progress. I keep on doing that. What is happening? Then I have only 1 year experience, which I repeated for 10 years. That's why, I keep on exploring, learning new skills and technology, which keep on enhancing, improving my skills and knowledge. And I will touch base that part also. How I will apply them also is very crucial part. Okay. Now, next point is you cannot learn and perform at the same time. This is the observation, the way a simple metaphor is that, girls' brains are like wired to do multiple things at a time, and boys' brains or males' their brains are wired to do a one task at a time. Now, but this is a common thing when you're learning something, uh, that time you cannot perform, right? So before performing, before improving the performance, we need to learn. That's the differences we wanted to discuss and highlight. The core insight is that skill acquisition requires separating your time and effort into two distinct uh, conflicting zone, the learning zone and the performance zone. Trying to do both simultaneously mean you do neither well. So when you are learning something, you focus on the learning zone so that you dedicatedly learn that. And once you learn it, you try to implement in your performance zone. That's how it could be very small skills also, representation skills or data handling skills or emailing skills, any skill it is. First you learn that, and then once you complete the learning process, then go into performance zone, the learning zones where growth happen. So any like I remember distinctly, I was learning certain technology, and I had to dedicate certain time for that, and I put an effort to learn that. I spent time on learning, observing, understanding, right? And then once I learn that, I start applying them in my work. And so real growth happen in the learning zone. Okay, and not getting into like in the example where focus is overloading your brain to build new capabilities, not just finishing the task. Environment intentionally inefficient, messy, slow, and often frustrating. That is what happened in the learning zone. Your mind has to be aware of, acknowledge करवा लो अपने mind को that okay, if I am in learning zone, these are the default reaction of my mind. Okay, inefficient, messy, slow, often frustrating. My mind will react that way, but that is a normal process. That is, I wanted to highlight to rewire natural pathway through deliberate cognitive load. So, okay, to rewire natural pathway through deliberate cognitive load. So it means that that is what we need to do. We need to create or reconnect new pathway neurons in our brain by doing new activity, so that it can build new connections. Okay, instead of going into autopilot mode, which we've been doing it, right? That's an example. The performance zones where you execute. Once we complete our task into the task into the learning zone, then we move to performance zones where what we do is we execute. Flawless execution, high stake, low mistake. Environment is maximum efficiency, speed, and exciting competence. Yeah, or existing competence. Hidden function. This zone is a diagnostic tool. Failure here provide the crucial data on what to improve next. So once I complete the learning zone, then I move into the performance zone. In performance zone, what happened? If any failure happen, imagine in performance zone, I failed to do something. So how should we take that failure? We should take that failure that what we need to improve based on the feedback of that failure, right? So that's how we can execute that. Again, I'm not going into example here. The The engine of growth is deliberate practice. What we need to do is we need to do this repetition of what immediate feedback and macro adjustment. So first we learned it, and when we practice it, when we try to deliberate practice is the structure process that drives progress within the learning zone. It clarifies that not all practices is created equal. Mindless repetition just reinforces existing habit. So this is a very good point. In learning zone we learn, right? And in performance zone we are now implementing it or executing it. While executing, what we need to do, we have to repeat that particular process while executing. uh, we have to keep this mind. Our mind has to be trained that in the first instance it would not be correct. I have to go through that process multiple time, maybe more than one time, definitely, in order to be normalize that, right? And if I make any mistake, which is absolutely fine, what I will do on top of that mistake, I'll do that adjustment so that next time I don't do that particular mistake. How to practice deliberately? Deconstruct, get feedback, refine. I already mentioned that. Deconstruct, you can't practice coding or practice negotiate. Break macro skill into tiny deliverable or okay drillable sub skills. Okay, handling the price objections or writing a recursive function in the coding. So it is asking us to deconstruct, chunk it down. Then feedback loop. Find a way to know immediate if you are doing in the right or wrong. Without this, your risk solidification bad habit. Okay, then if I don't check that feedback whether I'm doing right or wrong, I will keep on doing. I will not improve. And refinement makes small changes or adjustment uh, for the desired outcome we're looking for based on the feedback we receive. Okay, that's how we can do this practice deliberately. Growth requires a sandbox, not a battlefield. This is very good example. I like it. Growth requires a sandbox. Sandbox is what whoever works in a development area, they know that sandbox is nothing where we can create our own environment. We can run our softwares or we can test our programs there, and it is it does not impact the production systems. It does in a virtual simulated environment where we execute it. That is called sandbox. So learning is impossible under pressure. So there must be a bandwidth, okay, that okay, I may take couple of iteration maybe, or maybe in one iteration I can understand a little bit, and later on I can go through in a different approach and understand further. So learning is impossible under pressure. The or fight or flight response triggered by high stake and fear of failure shut down the creative and analytical part of the brain needed for growth. True learning requires the freedom to fail without consequences. True learning only happens when we have freedom to fail without consequences. If I if there is a stake always that if I fail there is a consequences which is negative and I cannot rectify, the challenge is that learning never happens and we restrict ourselves to progress further. Okay, so psychological safety is required, which you need to do in a sandbox and make the people aware that okay, I'm in this phase, I'm going through, I'm learning this. I may make some mistake, but provide me the feedback. Next time I'll improve immediately. To learn, you must be willing to look stupid. Okay, I am always stupid, guys. So I make mistake even I'm presenting it. There are a couple of mistakes I'm doing, which is absolutely fine. This is the part of the process and absolutely fine. When we learn something, yeah, right now I'm trying to, what I'm learning. If I say, how do I present well? How do I speak less? That is my core objective, which I keep on failing, to be honest, because I go into detail and I like sometimes I repeat twice, thrice, but these are my observation as a feedback. Again, I need to apply them. This is by default in my mind, and going forward, I need to apply them and work further, right? So, yeah, that's how it is. Design environments where failure is free. This is very crucial. So if environment where failure is free means we can keep on testing things, right? For example, we create a program and we test it, right? And that testing, of course, it takes time, but that testing helps us to improve the program, whatever we have written. as per and its performance, right? Similarly, like we need to have, like scope of failure also consider in order to have the progress. For example, here farming. Instead of leasing 10 acres, you plant a small test patch garden to experiment with crops, and then the cost of failure is a few seeds. Same mistake, I can recollect one. When you are investing in a market, you invest in a known territory, right? Don't go into unknown territory. And if you are going into unknown territory of investment, then you better start with the small investment like that, right? Where failure is free. So Power Automate, you can create dev test environment in your solution list using dummy data to test complex logic before pointing it as your real work folder, right? So likewise, there are example given, but the core message is design environment where failure is free. You can do mistakes where you can make mistakes and you can improve from it. The cycle of mastery, how we can do first is perform. Second is analyze failure and difficulty. Third is enter learning zone again in order to improve that gap, whatever we identify. Then deliberate practice. We need to deliberate practice. I have already mentioned. Drill the specific sub skills. We break it down, chunk it down. Then return to performance again. So return to performance again, perform, analyze where the gap is, then enter into learning zone, improve to in order to improve that gap, then go and break that task while implementing, and then you keep on performing that thing. And if you follow this particular approach, see, it can help. Why I chose this topic, it can literally help in learning new skills, learning new languages, learning or delivering certain kind of projects you are working on. This way, if you do, mostly in the learning process, this is how you can do. And also in execution, also it will help. Your playbook for continuous improvement is nothing but the problem, the OK plateau, where autopilot work and stop the progress. Second, the principle, separate your work into two zones, learning zone and performance zone. Fair enough. Then what we need to do? We need to pay off, the payoff zone, payoff stage, where the continuous cycle of growth that leads to mastery. That's how we achieve mastery. The practice, use deliberate practice, disconstruct feedback, refine within a psychological safe sandbox. So that is required. I think I don't know which sequence is right. I think first, second, the problem, the principle, the practice, and the payoff. I think this is the right sequence. Yeah, so the practice. Use deliberate practice, deconstruct feedback, refine within the psychological safe sandbox. That is what is needed. So, what will you practice deliberately? The challenge is identify one difficulty you face this week. Anything, it could be anything, okay? Let's say working out a little longer, or it could be, concentrating or focusing on certain things you need to work on or reading. So just pick one topic, or maybe learning something, right? Learning generative AI and something like that sort of. So that we can try first of all and design a 30-minute learning zone session for it. Whatever mistake you're doing, 30 minutes you just block that, okay, this was the challenge. Do it. Today, when I'm speaking, I have also a couple of items which I am exploring right now. It's kind of a learning. I have not found solution. Yesterday also tried, but that's how we can apply the second method. Third is schedule it on your calendar. Without that, it is impossible because that learning zone has to be segregated, blocked out. That time, do not do any other activity because performance you will do in the work, right? But learning, it is separate and it should not overlap with other activity. That's how it is crucial. The Soldier of Giant, the framework builds on the foundation work of research dedicated on the science of expert performance. For those who wish to go deeper, this is how we can do it. And these are the like reference point where I got this inputs. You can follow along the author and the ideation. That will be helpful. And yeah, so I hope overall this was really helpful to you. How you can do it, choose your zone, which we mentioned, and likewise, like learning zone, performance zone. So that's how we can progress. I hope it is helpful. And anything you wanted to learn from scratch, or something you wanted to improve your skill, follow this approach. It will help you and break this, this plateau. Very, very crucial, the tap of being okay. If you keep on doing the same thing, it will be okay, but that's not going to help you to progress or improve, right? Hence, follow this approach. It will help you a lot in order to improve any skills and have that confidence. This is a framework. If you apply, you will get result. Think and think and try to apply in that way. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for your time, guys.